Today I'd like to talk to you about how I built my raised beds. And the one benefit of a raised bed, if you don't understand, is you don't have to crawl around on the ground. Pull the weeds and pick your vegetables. After a while I decided I need to get a few raised beds. So there's 3 different styles here. The first style is just buying a 4-foot culvert and having them cut it down to 2 foot tall, or however tall you want it. That's more expensive, I guess, but easier. Expensive meaning 4 of those cost me $1,200, so $300 each. But they were done and they'll last a long time. I've had good crops coming out of those. The next kind is this one. I built these first about 4 years ago, and it's 28 inches high, and this is like a picket style. All the boards are straight up and down with 2x6s in the bottom and 2x6s around the top to hold them in. This isn't too bad of a design, but it took a lot of screws because I had to screw in every board. Every board had to be screwed in here. So I put 1 screw on top of each one of these boards. As you could see, the screw holes right here. I got this wood from work for free, so it only cost me 5 pounds of screws. But I did notice this after everything settled and water I was using for a year, the screws started snapping because screws are quite brittle. And so I had to get some banding. I got some banding from work and brought it back together. So that works fine, and it's fine. It's working good, but I had to maintain it a little bit. The next kind of raised bed is with the boards running the long way. That's much easier if you're going to build something and it's sturdier. So this one's I got what do I have in there? I got 1 2x6 and 3 2x4s for the height. And when you do this way, you got to go with whatever height unless you cut a board in half. But when you go with the pickets, you could cut your height to whatever you want, and that's the height of your bed. But with this way, you have to go 1 2 3 4 5 boards tall, or 4 boards tall, whatever you want. And unless you cut down the top board, you're stuck with this height. But it's I took my mother-in-law was getting her deck replaced, and I took all her boards, her old boards, turned the paint on the outside, and made it last fall. So what you have to do on the corner is very important. The top here just tells you, this holds it a bit, you know, keeps the dirt from falling out, but it still bends a bit. These are old boards, but you can tell they warp a little bit, or they were warped on the deck. So how I do it is I wanted it 12 feet long, so I cut them 12 feet. Then on the end ones I overlapped 3 inches, and then I put a 2x6 on the end here to hold it. Then I nailed these in here to hold the back onto the side. You need some kind of corner. Some people put a square right here, then you could go into each side. But I was thinking that's going to take away from my garden space. So I decided just to have outside coverage. And this is another example. So this is 3 feet long, and it's about 30 inches tall, 32 inches tall. And you know, people want to use they want to use a like cedar and things like that because it doesn't rot. But these old ones are 4 or 5 years old, and they don't show any wear of use so far. And if they ever did, I would just peel off the outside and then leave the dirt. The dirt would just sit there in the middle, and I could just put on a new outside wall. So that's what I'm thinking, and it's a lot cheaper. And also, it's in your it's in your garden, and you do what you want, you know, to save money. So I had to start fixing these up a bit because they were falling apart, because I made these. This is the first one I made, and then after that I got a little bit better and a little bit better, but I just had to hold down the top a bit. But the best overall is the long planks. They're the best. Going sideways, you know, work your way up, and we like that. I like some more sturdy. The second best, probably, or third best even, is the culverts, steel culverts. Except for if you want to water in straight lines. If you like watering in straight lines, then you like a square one. But if you don't mind wrapping your hoses in a circular pattern, then it's kind of awkward, but it works. And what do I put underneath? When I started a raised bed, I started it in the summer, and then as the garden progressed and I had garden waste and all that, I would throw it in the bottom and keep filling up these bins. And then when my corn was ready and we shucked it all and froze it, I took all the corn stalks and filled this up. And then in the fall, when the leaves came, I filled it up again with leaves. And then later in the fall, I got kind of garden soil, topsoil, from the local company. And so it saves you a little bit when you could throw stuff in the bottom without just using pure topsoil. But it does sink. It sunk down after the first year. It sunk down a foot, and so I had to throw a foot of topsoil on top, and every year it kind of sinks more. One year I just dumped all the, after we cut all the corn off our cobs, I had 2 or 3 garbage bags full of cobs. So I just I dug out a hole and filled cobs in all these bins, and then over a year or so they disappeared. They were gone, and then it started sinking again. When they disappear, the ground sinks. And so that's all turned out really good. I got some good soil here now. Then I read about, in these ones here, I read about you put wood on the bottom and logs and things. So I did have logs. So I put logs in the bottom, but that was after I filled it all with dirt. So I had to dig out half of it, put logs in the bottom and bury it, dig out the other half, put logs on the bottom and bury it. But it turned out all right, except sometimes the water finds its way down through the logs. But I guess that's after a year or so. that would work out good. I think this will be a good year for these round ones, because last year I filled all the cracks where the water was going down on the edges with straw, and then I had a better water on top for the plants. So that's one thing to think about. How much stuff do you put on the bottom, and how much big pieces do you put down there? Yeah, so that's about all I can say about this. I'm really looking forward to getting the water going on here. I'm gonna have this system right here with these drippers. You could turn these up to 0 to 12 gallons a minute each one. So I usually have them just a little bit going, like a gallon a minute, and then I only have to run it for like an hour every other day. And I'm going to hook in my line right here, down here, and start up here, and send my water down that way. So it should be good. Well, that's my raised bed argument for good wood. If you like cheap wood, don't be afraid to use it, and it's all good. If it goes in the garden, it's for food, it's all good.